Geography Part 1-1. How do you like geography? I don't like geography. I seriously lack a sense of direction and have no interest in other areas or roads. 2. Do you think geography is useful? I think it can be useful sometimes. I learned in geography class what that place is famous for and what it mainly produces, and I use it as basic knowledge when I travel. 3. Have you ever learned geography? Yes, when I was a freshman in high school, there was a geography class. I don't remember much because the teacher's teaching style was boring, but I remember her vague face and having to memorize a ton of things for exams. 4. Do you want to be a geography teacher? Not at all. As I said before, geography is boring to me. I don't have a good memory, and I have no personal interest in it. Considering my extremely poor sense of direction, I guess I have no talent for geography as well. At school, work part 2. Describe a rule that is important in your school or at work. Before I had children, I ran a math academy for 8 years. While teaching math to middle school and high school students, there were a few rules, and the rule that came to mind the most was that if a student didn't do his homework, he had to pay 3,000 won and go to the market on the lower level of the academy with the money and buy popsicles equal to the number of children taking classes with him, and then distribute the popsicles to the children. Of course, there were children who asked what would happen if they did not bring 3,000 won. I told them that I would have to send you home and get it from your parents. In fact, there was not a single student who didn't bring 3,000 won to the end. The reason I created this rule was because homework was very important and I thought it was a waste of time to spend class time scolding children who didn't do their homework. And it was very effective because the children were afraid of being scolded by their parents at home for not doing their homework, and they were more afraid of losing their money more than anything. Also, the kids did their homework better because they didn't want to see their friends happy when they got popsicles. I was happy that I had made this rule that got my students to study more without costing me any energy or money. Fishing Part 1-1. Is fishing popular in your country? Yes, I've heard a lot of celebrities fishing as a hobby. But I've never done it. 2. Do you like eating fish? Yes, I like eating fish. We know that fish is good for our health because it provides more protein and less fat than meat. 3. Have you ever been to a place where there are lots of fish around you? Yes, when I went snorkeling in Hawaii, I was in a place full of very small and pretty fish. It was an ecstatic experience. 4. Have you seen any movies with lots of fish? Yes, it reminds me of Steven Spielberg's Jaws. The main character is Jaws, but since it's set in the ocean, it can be said to be a movie with many fish. Be proud of Part 2. Describe a difficult task that you completed at work, study that you felt proud of. 2 years ago, I earned my national certification to become a custom cosmetics dispensing technician. As I was a non-major, I had no relevant knowledge. It was even difficult to memorize the basic names of cosmetics because I don't usually wear makeup. Still, I woke up at 4 a.m. for 2 months and studied really hard. To save money, I studied on my own by listening to free lectures on YouTube instead of going to a private academy or going to expensive lectures. In the end, not only did I pass the exam in the first attempt, but I also came in first place in the country. Although I am not doing anything special using that certificate now, I am still proud of my passion and effort back then. As I got older, at some point it felt awkward to study and take new tests. But the fact that I took on a new challenge and achieved it taught me that I can do anything. It also gave me confidence that it was not too late. Films Part 1-1. What films do you like? In the past, I liked watching movies that had deep resonance. It's a movie that makes me think about many things after I finish watching it and even when I wake up the next morning. But things are different now. At some point, I just like watching movies that are fun and make me laugh. I don't know, maybe I've reached an age where there are already too many things to think about and do in real life. 2. Did you often watch films when you were a child? No, when I was young, I didn't watch many movies. I didn't even watch much TV. At that time, movies usually aired late at night, so I didn't have a chance to see them. 3. Did you ever go to cinema alone as a child? Yes, I went to the movies alone once when I was young. I'm not sure what gave me the courage to go. I think I just wanted to feel like an adult. The movie I saw at that time was Ace Ventura 2, and I still remember laughing so hard because of Jim Carrey's acting. 4. Do you often go to the cinema with your friend? Yes, before I got married, I often went to the movies with my friends. I think I went there very often when I was a college student, and after I got married, I went there with my husband. But after my son was born, it's hard to go to the movies. I think we can go together when he grows up. 5. Do you think going to the cinema is a good way to spend time with friends? I used to think so, but not anymore. Nowadays, it seems like a better idea to meet friends and talk at a cafe. Maybe it's because we don't see each other often, but it seems like a waste of time to just spend time at the movie theater. Photos that make Part 2. Describe a photo that makes you feel happy. There is a photo that just comes to mind. This picture was taken when I went to Universal Studios in LA last summer with my family. There was a ride called Jurassic World and I waited 90 minutes to ride it with my husband and son. There was no place to sit and it was so hot that we were exhausted before we even got on the ride. And finally, we got on the ride and the picture was taken automatically by the machine while we were falling from a very high place. Everyone was able to check their momentary expressions on the monitor screen on the way out of the ride. In fact, these days, services and sales like this are common at all rides, so I usually just pass by, but at that time, I couldn't pass by. The sight of my husband and son screaming and looking scared was so vivid. Just looking at the photo, it felt like I could hear screaming next to me. What's even more interesting is that I was sitting in the back seat, just smiling brightly and enjoying the ride. It doesn't make sense to be happy when I see other family members' scared faces, but really, I look at this picture often. It's on display in my living room and it makes me smile every time I see it. Of course, I'm not the only one laughing. Even my husband and son smile every time they see that. This is a photo I want to see every time I feel down. Clothing Part 1. What kind of clothes do you like to wear? I like clothes made of cotton, because it is warm, soft and easy to care for. Before I got married, I wore all kinds of clothes, but these days, I'm looking for clothes that are easy to wash. 2. Do you prefer to wear comfortable and casual clothes or smart clothes? Naturally, I like to wear comfortable, everyday clothes. At some point I reached an age where being comfortable was best. 3. Do you like wearing t-shirts? Yes, I like wearing t-shirts. I especially own a lot of black t-shirts. It fits anywhere and is comfortable. 4. Do you spend a lot of time choosing clothes? Yes, I have strong and picky tastes when it comes to choosing clothes. For example, even if it is a black t-shirt, the texture, pattern, neckline, and length are all different. I don't buy anything if the conditions are even slightly different from what I want. Computer Strike Part 2. Describe a time when you had a problem with using the computer. A few years ago, I bought a computer through a used trading app. I got the computer without knowing anything about its parts, being deceived by the seller's words that it had good specifications. When I bought it, there was no graphics card. I couldn't get in touch with the seller again and I was extremely stressed. In the end, I bought a graphics card. However, the graphics card was too large to fit into the computer. So I bought a computer case. It didn't end here. I changed the graphics card and the computer didn't turn on. In the end, I had to replace the motherboard and even change the RAM and CPU to match it. These processes cost me twice as much and took a lot of time and energy. And after that, I vowed never to trade electronic devices through a used trading app again. And I was able to learn that when making a decision in the future, I need to think twice and listen to the advice of those around me. The good thing is that I know computers enough to be able to assemble all the parts myself. Chatting Part 1. Do you like chatting with friends? Yes, I love chatting with friends. My friends and I could stay in the same place and just talk all day. 2. What do you usually chat about with friends? Everyone is married and talks about children the most. At some point, we started talking about our children rather than about ourselves. 3. Do you prefer to chat with a group of people or with only one friend? It is better to talk with several people. I can hear different opinions and get a lot of information. 4. Do you prefer to communicate face-to-face or via social media? I much prefer talking face-to-face. I don't think talking through social media is a good idea because it reduces concentration and I can't see the other person's facial expressions. And sometimes it's annoying to type a lot of content. 5. Do you argue with friends? I don't often argue with my friends. If I respect each other's thoughts and actions, there is no need to argue. After all, we all live our own lives. Beautiful City Part 2. Describe a beautiful city. The beautiful city I know is called Songdo. It's a city in Incheon, but it's an island. Because it is connected by a very large bridge, you don't really think of it as an island. I lived there for 3 years. Because this is a new city, there are many high-rise apartments. There are also many hotels close to the airport. It gets much busier on weekends, with many tourists coming from all over the country. There is a large artificial lake in the middle of the city, and the surrounding scenery is very beautiful, and there are many restaurants along the promenade. You can take a boat and look around the lake, and the park next to the lake has deer and rabbits, making it a good place to go with children. Because it is a planned city, the skyscrapers and nature blend well together. Thanks to this, I was able to see very beautiful views and night scenes every day, even from inside my apartment. Also, because it is an island, you can see the West Sea and the setting sun from many places, which is a big reason why this place is even more beautiful.